Okay, I had someone reach out to me on Instagram asking a question that I know I've covered a lot of times, and it's essentially, it was a long way of asking, how do I get out of quasi recovery, right? So she's talking about how she eats, 3 really good meals a day and 3 snacks a day. And I think she used the example of like, I have oatmeal and a piece of fruit and toast for breakfast and, my snacks. And I feel like, why do I want more for breakfast? Like that should be more than enough for a normal person to eat for breakfast. And I'm like, okay, but we've got this, like, I've heard actually this theme a lot lately talking with clients. They use, I don't know if I've ever been through a session, actually, now that I think about it, where someone hasn't said the word normal. I just want to eat normal. I just want to be normal. I just want to think like a normal person. I just want to, and it's like, well, how are we defining normal, right? How are we defining normal? Because normal, usually the way they're using it is like what everyone else who's disordered out in the outside world, majority of people, are doing. One. And two, let's say that nobody out there is disordered. Well, you have an eating disorder and you're in recovery, so you shouldn't even be trying to be normal. And three, normal is going to be different for everyone, right? So what, for somebody, oatmeal and a piece of toast who's not in recovery from an eating disorder might satisfy them, whereas somebody else who's also not in recovery, an oatmeal and a piece of toast may satisfy them. So it's going to be the same thing when you're in recovery. This huge, ginormous meal of whatever might satisfy one person, but then for this other person in recovery, they're still going to be starving. But the problem happens when we start comparing and we start thinking, well, so-and-so's in recovery and they ate that much, and that is like their extreme hunger and that's how much they should be eating, and so that's what I should be doing. Or if I want more, there's something wrong with me and I have to ignore that desire to eat more and just keep doing what I'm doing because, again, this is what I've seen online or this is what I've heard someone else is doing. And so the better you can get at just blocking out and just kind of like having this like tunnel or laser vision on what it is that you want, the better off you're going to be at successfully honoring your hunger, your mental and physical hunger without judgment. The judgment only comes in because we've been told that things are good to do or bad to do or too much or not enough. And so then we start feeling like, okay, we're doing something wrong here because surely that oatmeal and toast should have filled me up and it didn't. So I will never be able to fully recover because I'm unwilling to go past that. I'm unwilling to eat more because it just doesn't seem okay with me. So losing the judgment, not comparing, these are all ways of getting out of that quasi recovery. And this is what keeps people so stuck for so long because they just spend so much time trying to convince themselves that they're okay, even though they know they're not. And then I get that message or these messages like this message that are saying like, how do I get out of quasi recovery? And I'm like, well, the answer is so simple. I get that it's not easy, but the answer is so simple. Start eating what you want to eat. Like clearly you want to eat more than that. She used the example of like, well, what if I wanted to go and get, I can't remember what it was, like a latte and a croissant though after breakfast, like as a snack. I can't justify that because I had a good breakfast. That doesn't make sense. I'm not in dire, desperate need of all this food anymore. And it's like, you don't have to be like rock bottom to eat how you want to eat. You get to eat how and what you want to eat for the rest of your life. And so the more that you tell yourself you can't, no, you can't, I shouldn't, I can't, I shouldn't, the more you're going to be fixated and just want to do that. So just do it and do it consistently as long as you want to do it, right? It may be that every day for the next several months, you want to have a giant breakfast and a giant snack and a giant lunch and giant snacks in between all that. And that's fine. Keep doing that. But over time, that'll start to feel more, I don't love the word balance, but it'll start to feel just more comfortable for you. It won't feel so, oh my gosh, this is so out of control. Why am I craving these things all the time? And what's wrong with me? You're not going to have all that judgment around it. Once you kind of drop the judgment and you just give your body what it's asking for, things don't feel so scary and you can really tap into what it is that you want. So the number one, actually probably two biggest things that are keeping people stuck in quasi recovery, maybe three. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. One is the comparison trap. That person is sicker than I am, so they should eat that way. Or, oh, that person, eats this way, therefore I shouldn't eat any more than that. That comparison thing. Then the judgment of, no, this is good, this is bad. That's not okay. What's wrong with me? I can't be doing this. And then the third one is this illusion that you live in, thinking that there's this like idea of what normal is. There's like this definition of normal, and you're trying to strive for it. Like, get rid of normal and just be you. Just do what is true and right for you. Now that's obviously overly simplified on how to get past or break past that quasi recovery state, but just start there. That's just a good start. Just start checking yourself. Where am I comparing? Where am I putting judgment on myself? And how am I convincing myself that I'm okay and that I'm not that sick? And stop telling yourself these lies that you're okay, and face up to what you really need to do and get yourself out of quasi recovery, because full recovery is a completely different life than quasi recovery. And quasi recovery is a completely different life than being fully entrenched in your eating disorder. Being fully entrenched and quasi are not fully living. Okay, maybe quasi is a little bit better, maybe not. Some will argue it's not. I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe it's not better because you're in a body that you don't feel comfortable in and you're still not living freely. Whereas when you're entrenched in your eating disorder, you're just kind of checked out of life and numb, and you don't really realize what you're missing out on. But when you're fully recovered, you're in a body that you've learned to be okay with, you've learned to accept. You don't have to love it, you don't have to have body positivity, but you just kind of are body neutral, and you're living your life, and you're not following any rules, and you're not feeling like you are compelled to do things. And essentially you get to make choices for yourself that you want to do, not because you feel like you have to do. So if you're stuck in that state of quasi, I urge you to do what you need to do. If that's looking for more support, getting a coach. If coaching's not feasible, I know for a lot of people it's not. Listening to these videos and actually taking the advice that I'm giving, right? Use the tools. A lot of people will say, I can't afford your coaching, but I so badly wish I could. Well, that's why I do these free videos. This is why I do videos, because the majority of people can't afford coaching, honestly. And I wish I could help everybody that needs help in recovery, but I can't. But in some small way, doing these videos, if you really take these to heart, these can help you. Is it one-on-one coaching? No, but it's definitely a start, right? So have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you probably on Monday. All right, bye.